Your personal brand is an asset that you have with you for life. Markets change, industries change, trends change, but your reputation stays with you forever and through all of it. In this video, I'll show you how to build a personal brand that drives influence and income and impact while honoring who you really are. Here's a quick overview of what I'll be going over in this video. First, what a personal brand is and isn't. We'll get into why personal branding matters more today than ever before. I'll talk about the biggest mistake that people make when building their personal brand. And then I'll share my inside out personal branding framework. The world that we live in is noisier than ever, and AI is only making it worse. But information is not transformation. More than ever, people want trust, they want connection, they want intimacy, and they want real leadership. A strong personal brand positions you as a leader in the marketplace. It differentiates you, it increases your visibility, it increases your perceived value, and ultimately it drives opportunities, inbound opportunities. So what is a personal brand? A lot of people think of branding as your colors, your logo, your fonts, maybe your website, potentially a tagline or a tag phrase. And yes, it's all of those things, but there are layers of personal branding that are much, much deeper than that. And all of those things I mentioned really sit on top of those layers. The foundation of your personal brand really, when it's done right, comes from the inside out. And there's a whole excavation process to get there. And ultimately, let's be real. No matter what you do to brand and position yourself, no matter what logos you use or colors you use, at the end of the day, your brand isn't what you say it is. It's what everyone else says it is. Your brand ultimately is how people see you and how you are perceived by the marketplace. You can say and do whatever you want, but if people think differently of you than what you're putting out there, then ultimately it's the market that wins when it comes to branding. So the biggest mistake that people make in branding is thinking that they can just come out and decide who they are and brand themselves any way they want, and they don't have to consider that interaction with the market. So a quick background on who I am, because you may not know about my experience with personal branding. The truth is, 18 years ago when I started my business, I started with personality types, and that led me into the personal branding space. I spent many years building personal branding programs, delivering personal brand keynotes. I even produced a course called Make Them Beg. It was all about building your personal brand, and that won the Miami Herald Business Plan Challenge in 2013. So I have a long track record of not only being a thought leader in personal branding, but also helping people build and actively create those brands and put them out into the world. So here's my inside out personal branding framework. I believe that everything begins with the inner work of personal branding. The inner work is the part of the process where you dig into your own self, your own past, your own personality, and you figure out who you really are beyond any sort of credentials, beyond your upbringing, beyond the stories that you tell about yourself, and really dive into who am I really? For me, that always starts with personality because my background was in Myers-Briggs first. That was one of the first things I did. So I really believe that we come into this world with certain innate gifts, innate strengths, innate preferences. And when we build a brand that's in alignment with those gifts and strengths and preferences, everything is so much more easy. It's more grace and ease, more flow. It's not as much work. But a lot of us try to build our brands around who we think we should be for the market. That's the outside in approach. So the inner work and starting with that step really takes care of making sure you're operating from the inside out instead, so that you can have a brand that's really aligned with who you truly are. So the second part is the higher work. The higher work is where we look at what do we serve beyond ourselves, right? So it could be something spiritual or religious, but it doesn't have to be. The higher work is you connecting what you're up to with a greater purpose, with some sort of thing, some sort of mission or vision or objective that's bigger than you, that's beyond you. And when we connect to something higher, that gives us a lot of fuel. It gives us more stamina. It gives us more devotion to what we're doing. So an easy way to get to that would be to think about, why are you here on this planet? If you only had another day or month or year to live, what is the one thing that you'd want to leave behind? The next step is the creative work. This is where we look at what you've created, what you've done, what your background is, what your expertise is, and we start to organize that and ideate about that and get brainstorm about that to pull together, what is it that's uniquely yours? What are you doing? What have you done that's very special to you? And what can you do that's unique to you? This is where you might get into special words that you say or phrases that you've coined or special frameworks that you've developed, any content, anything that you've created that's uniquely yours that lives in this creative work. The fourth component is the strategic component, which is where most people actually start branding. The strategic work is to look outward at the market and figure out, okay, what does the market need right now? What are the big problems in my industry? What are the big problems in the world that I am uniquely qualified to solve? Who's the target audience for that? What are the niches, the industries that I can focus my efforts in? Having a niche and a focus makes personal branding and marketing so much faster and easier. I know how tempting it can be to create a big, beautiful, bold brand, but it's a lot easier to create a narrow and focused brand and penetrate a market, and then from there be able to grow because you're making money, you're doing well, you've got opportunities. That's easier. It's easier from there to expand and scale. The fifth piece is the execution work. This is where you actually hire a developer, get a web designer, hire a graphic designer, use that AI image generator, and create the assets for your brand. The one-time assets like your logo, your website, the one sheet, the things that you produce once that tell the world who you are. And then the final piece is the ongoing piece of telling the world who you are and why you're here and what you're up to. And that's the marketing piece. And consistently putting out marketing that positions you as the brand that you are, and potentially even as a step towards becoming an actual thought leader in your space. If you want to explore thought leadership, I have other videos on that. So if you're interested in building and growing your personal brand and the business model and back end to monetize it, let's connect. You can find me at superstaractivator.com/go.